Welcome to Tiny Tales channel, Gulliver's Adventures. Once upon a time, there was a brave and curious doctor named Lemuel Gulliver who lived in England. Gulliver didn't just practice medicine, he loved sailing the seas and discovering distant lands. One day, he set out on a new journey aboard a large ship. But this trip would open the door to the greatest adventures of his life. During the first few weeks of the voyage, everything went smoothly. But then a huge storm hit and the ship was about to sink. Gulliver grabbed a life jacket and jumped into the sea. The waves carried him to an unknown island. Exhausted and unconscious, he finally washed up on shore. When he woke up, he couldn't believe his eyes. His body was tied down with thin ropes, and around him stood tiny people, no bigger than ants, holding tiny spears. He had arrived in the land of Lilliput. These people were only about 6 inches tall. At first the Lilliputians were afraid of Gulliver, but once they saw he meant no harm, they untied him. In this miniature world, Gulliver looked like a giant. He was invited to the palace, where the emperor treated him with great hospitality. Gulliver helped the tiny people in their fields, protected their homes from fires, and even defended them from an attack by their enemy country, Blefuscu. But not everyone liked Gulliver. Some jealous ministers in the palace plotted against him. When Gulliver found out about their plan, he built a small boat and sailed away from Lilliput. After drifting for days, he reached another island, Brobdingnag, where the people were giants. While resting in a field, a huge farmer picked him up and took him home. In this land, people were up about 60 feet tall. Now, Gulliver was the small one, like a toy in their world. The farmer's little daughter, Glumdalclitch, adored Gulliver and took good care of him. She made him a tiny house with tiny furniture. Eventually, Gulliver was taken to the palace, where he caught the queen's attention. But life in Brobdingnag was full of dangers. Because he was so small, a giant monkey once kidnapped him, and another time, a bee tried to sting him. One day, while Gulliver was asleep in a box near the shore, an English ship spotted him and brought him back home. On his next journey, Gulliver saw something floating in the sky, a flying island called Laputa. This strange place was home to people who were obsessed with science and music. But they were so caught up in their ideas, they had lost touch with the real world. Gulliver witnessed bizarre experiments, farmers trying to plant crops upside down, scientists attempting to extract sunlight from cucumbers, and even projects to collect energy from shadows. Gulliver encouraged the Laputans to use common sense and then continued on his way. In his final adventure, Gulliver arrived in a land ruled by wise, gentle horses called the Houyhnhnms. These horses could talk, read books, and lived peacefully. But they shared their land with wild, filthy, human-like creatures called Yahoos. The Houyhnhnms saw that Gulliver was different from the Yahoos and welcomed him. Gulliver admired their intelligence, kindness, and way of life. He wanted to stay with them forever, but in the end, the horses said he couldn't remain there. Heartbroken, Gulliver returned to England, but nothing felt the same anymore. He missed the wisdom and kindness of the Houyhnhnms. So he built a quiet peaceful life in his garden, away from the noise and selfishness of the world. Through all his journeys, Gulliver had learned the most important lesson of all. No matter how big or small, horse or human, every living being deserves respect, kindness, and peace. And true wealth is found in the goodness of the heart. Don't forget to subscribe to Tiny Tales.